I was standing at the altar, hands trembling, heart louder than the organ behind me, when I realized something terrifying and beautiful at the same time. None of the women waiting to marry me truly knew who I was when no one was watching. My name is Daniel Hayes, and on paper, my life looked perfect. Successful career, a family name people respected, a future mapped out by expectations and polished smiles. For years, my parents introduced me to ideal women, elegant, accomplished, impressive. Women who looked flawless in photos and spoke effortlessly about goals, investments, and appearances. Each relationship ended the same way: polite affection, surface-level love, and a quiet emptiness I couldn't explain. Then there was her. She wasn't supposed to matter. I met her on a rainy Tuesday night at a small roadside diner I only stopped at because my car broke down nearby. I was irritated, soaked, and exhausted from another long day pretending to be someone I wasn't. She approached my table with a tired smile and said, "Coffee, on the house, you look like you've had a day." That simple sentence disarmed me. Her name was Lily. She wore a faded blue apron, her hair tied back loosely, no makeup, no performance. She didn't know my last name. She didn't know what I owned or where I came from. She only saw a man who needed warmth. Over the next few weeks, I kept finding excuses to go back to that diner. Same booth. Same coffee. Same gentle conversations that somehow felt deeper than years of formal dates. She listened, not to reply, not to impress, but to understand. She remembered small things, how I took my coffee, how I avoided talking about my family, how I always asked about her day but never rushed her answer. One night, I watched her quietly pack a leftover meal for an elderly man who came in every evening but never ordered much. She didn't announce it, didn't seek praise, she just did it, like kindness was a reflex, and in that moment something clicked. The story reminds us that kindness still matters, not the kind you post online, but the kind you practice when no one is keeping score. Still, reality caught up fast. My engagement had already been announced, the wedding invitations were sent, my parents were thrilled. The woman I was supposed to marry was kind in her own way, but distant, guarded, more in love with the idea of a future than the person standing beside her. I tried to ignore the growing weight in my chest. I told myself love was supposed to be practical, that passion fades, that choosing safety over sincerity was the adult thing to do. But then came the night everything changed. I showed up at the diner later than usual and found Lily sitting alone in the back, eyes red, hands shaking slightly. Her mother had been sick for months. Hospital bills were piling up. She'd taken extra shifts, skipped meals, smiled through exhaustion, and never once complained. I offered help without thinking. She refused just as quickly, not because she didn't need it, but because she didn't want to owe anyone. Her pride wasn't loud, it was quiet and dignified. That night, driving home, I realized something painful. I trusted her more than anyone in my life. And she trusted the world so little because it had never been kind to her without conditions. The wedding day arrived like a beautifully wrapped mistake. As I stood there, staring at rows of familiar faces, I imagined Lily wiping down counters, refilling coffee cups, completely unaware that a man was about to make the biggest mistake of his life in a room full of witnesses. That's when the question hit me, not do you love her, but who are you becoming if you say yes? I asked for a moment. Gasps filled the room. I stepped outside, heart racing, hands cold, and for the first time, I chose honesty over approval. I called off the wedding, not for Lily, but for myself. The fallout was brutal: headlines, family disappointment, friends choosing sides. I lost connections I thought were unbreakable. But in that silence, something unexpected happened. I felt lighter. Weeks passed before I returned to the diner. I didn't know what I hoped for: forgiveness, courage, or maybe just closure. Lily looked up when I walked in, surprised, and then smiled the same gentle smile she always had. I didn't give a speech. I didn't explain everything. I just told her the truth, that I admired her, that she showed me what real kindness looked like, that being around her made me want to be better, not bigger. She listened quietly, then she said something I'll never forget. "Thank you for choosing honesty, even if it cost you." That was the moment of realization, the real twist. She wasn't waiting to be chosen. She had already chosen herself. We didn't rush into anything. No dramatic confessions. No fairy tale promises. Just two people learning what it meant to show up without pretending. Months later, we built a life not perfect, not flashy, but real. One grounded in respect, laughter, late night talks, and small daily acts of care. And every time I see her quietly help someone without being asked, I'm reminded why I walked away from everything that looked right to choose what felt true. Because love isn't about status, it's not about appearances, it's about how someone treats the world when they think no one is watching.